Hello everybody, this is IndieGeek, and today I'm taking a look at Krunch. So this is a game by LeGrudge and Rugged, and I'm covering it because it is now available on Steam for the first time. I know it came out a while ago on other markets, but being available on Steam, they have added some extra features. I believe controller support was now added. Don't know if it was in before. I will be using a controller. As well as things like Steam achievements, which totally awesome. I'm down with Steam achievements, love that kind of stuff. So, the game is available on Steam now. I will link in the description. It is $7.50 for the opening week sale and $10 after that. And I'm just going to kind of jump in and show you guys what's going on with this. It's basically, in my mind, it's kind of like if you were to combine the gameplay of or maybe not necessarily the gameplay, but like the feel of things like Super Meat Boy and VVV into a game together, you'd get Krunch. It's hard to explain, but it's kind of in that same kind of vein there, where you are, you're going to die a lot. That's basically what I've learned so far, is that you are going to die a lot. So this is showing us how to move. So our health drains over time, as well as if we were to bump into things like the saw blades. So maybe I'll do that real quick. So you see my health went down a little. Health bar is at the top, of course, and we're just trying to get to the end of each level. Any of our face buttons on the Xbox 360 controller lets us boost, but boosting also drains your health. So some of the harder levels you definitely do get into like some boost management. You do have to get to the end of the level before you are out of life, of course. So, in a way, it reminds me a little bit of like, like I was saying, kind of like the Meat Boy VVV thing, but almost like combined and kind of turned into like a racing game in a way. It reminds me a little bit of like a racing game, because you are kind of racing against the clock in every level. Try and get to the end. And there are leaderboards as well. I don't know if those were there before the Steam release, but they are available now. And part of what determines your leaderboards is how many of these little kind of collectibles that you get. And for now they're pretty easy, but they get tough. So that's showing us that if we hold both of our trigger buttons, then we can self-destruct, basically in case we know for a fact that we are going to be in a bad position. And this is a much better example of kind of where this game is going as far as difficulty. So the first few levels, of course, were to just kind of show us kind of the basics of the game, and now we're seeing more along the lines of what the rest of the game will be like. I have played for roughly half an hour. I played through all of the first world, and there was a boss at the end of the first world, and then I played through some of the second world as well. Based on the length of the worlds, as well as kind of just the Steam description, it looks to be that there are 4 worlds, I believe, and over 100 levels in total. So, oh no, yep, saw that. So it does keep track of how many times you die and in what way you die each time. So it'll tell you how many minutes you've played. Of course, mine was all reset back to 0 because I went ahead and just clicked new game for this. Because you can go back and play through the levels like individually afterwards if you want to, maybe collect the rest of the little collectibles, and then it'll tell you. So I got 277 krebs in 3 minutes and 9 seconds, and 1 death. So that's my score. But that's just kind of, the level was called A Moment of Silence, and it really was, because that was not like the end of the first world or anything. Oh my gosh. Yeah, kind of thought so. I probably should have just self-destructed there. Saved a little bit of time. But that's okay, I made it through that time. But, yeah, that is basically how the game plays out. So, I mean, some of the first things I'm going to talk about here, this is a level that I'm not even going to go for the Krebs. I had this issue, I spent a little bit of time trying to get the Krebs in my personal playtime before doing this video, and it is not going well. Ah, yes, and this happened a lot on this level. Oh no, yep. I like to see if I can self-destruct before the game kills me. I don't know why, but it feels to me. Oh, goodness. That was not good. Anyways, so... yeah, I mean, that's the basis of the gameplay here. So as far as, like, my thoughts on some of the other stuff, you know, art-wise, I think it looks great. You know, it's a unique look, and I think that is very good. Although I think some of the look is what makes me think a little bit of VVVVVV. Not that that is a problem, of course. But yeah, I mean it's got a really nice kind of art style to it that you know, it doesn't really look much like any other game. And I think that means, you know, that it's definitely got a lot going for it in that respect. Because obviously you don't want your game to look too much like any other game, otherwise, you know, there's confusion and people get upset about that kind of stuff. That is not going to be the case in this game. Krunch is Krunch, and I like that. But, you know, there's a lot of detail put into stuff, and I appreciate that. I love looking at these, the crusher blocks. Oh, I got atomized. Because, like, each square is like a different little pattern, and it gives it a really, really neat look to it. But also the color schemes through all the art are really cool. Each area has its own, like, color, and then everything in the area is basically based on that color. So we get kind of all these monochromatic areas. And then some levels like this, you can actually take your time. Because the only obstacle are these crushers that move towards the middle. There isn't like one wall crusher that's chasing us. You know, this is more like the Star Wars and the Trash Pit style level. But, so you know, that's how that works. There is some variety to the levels. I'm real bad at doing that end part, obviously. So yeah, I mean, that's kind of my overall thoughts on the art style. I like it a lot. I love that each area has its own unique kind of feel to it, as well as the game just having a feel that I haven't necessarily seen in other games. I definitely appreciate that a lot. These creatures are crazy, so they... Oh gosh. Yeah, I'm not going to be able to get out of that. They will chase you as soon as they spot you. So again, a very hard level to get all the Krebs on, which is why I won't be going for it. That's probably something I'll do in my free time at some point, just try and go through and get all the Krebs in this game. So at some points, you know, you can kind of decide, do you want to do it fast, or do you want to try and collect all the Krebs? And, you know, I like that. There's a lot of freedom for choice in the game. So, the other thing, of course, you know, like I said, the art is fantastic. The music is also fantastic. I believe the music is partially done by Disasterpiece, which is pretty awesome. But yeah, it's got a really great soundtrack. This level is nuts. Ah, just made it. Nice. And we are actually going to get to see a boss level here as well, which is nice. And I'll probably do the boss. It'll take a few tries, and then I will probably try and show a few levels of the mines off. So this was one of the first levels where, like, stamina management was really, really important. Because there's a part near the end of the level where you have to use a boost. I think, anyways. I don't know, maybe you can do it without boost, but... Oh, yep. I got greedy. But yeah, the music is awesome. You know, I'm sure you can hear it just fine. I've got it turned up a little louder than I normally would for a video like this, so hopefully... Oh, I was just barely in that. Hopefully you can hear it alright. You know, it's basically like the kind of action-y soundtrack that I would want to hear for something like this. And, you know, it feels kind of pretty retro and also like kind of electronica inspired. So it does a good job of kind of mashing together new and old in the soundtrack, which is definitely something that I appreciate. And you do start to see it a lot in sort of these retro-inspired games, where the soundtracks will take kind of sounds that we think of as kind of modern, and also sounds that we think of as retro, you know, kind of 8 and 16-bit sounds, and make one soundtrack with it. Really neat idea. And, you know, I like it a lot. You know, kind of as far as my overall thoughts on the game go, you know, I'm very much into platformers, and this kind of manifests as a platformer in kind of a different vein, if you will. You know, like I said before, I kind of almost called it a racing game even, and it does feel that way sometimes. You know, like this level is a really good example of that, so I'm kind of racing in a way, in that, you know, if I end up in second place, obviously I die. But, you know, just because so many of the levels have kind of that scroller level feel to them, if you will, it ends up feeling a little bit like you're racing against the clock all the time. Sorry, just kind of concentrating my way through there. Thank goodness, made it through that. Okay, we are not too much farther from the end now. Oh, wow. I can't believe it. I'm alive. Oh, can I make it through this last one without boost? Yes. Alright, cool. So that is the first boss. So then you get, you know, your final score for the area, as well as... Oh, nice. I'm number 3 in the world right now. That's cool. I'm guessing because the game is so new. You know, I'm trying to cover this pretty much at release. When I'm playing it anyways. I think if my schedule goes right, it'll probably be out the day after release, but that's okay. Yeah, so you can see that even going to the second world, things already get much, much tougher. So, you know, as far as, like, difficulty and time spent on the game, there's no shortage of difficulty. And, the game is going to take me... Oh, gosh. Just got, like, infinite comboed by that dude. The game is going to take me quite a long time to get through, especially because you start to get into levels like this. And of course, the saw blades aren't a one-hit kill, but the saw blades do bounce you, and the atomizers are a one-hit kill, so you gotta be pretty patient to go through that. And this is about as far as I had made it before, actually, so... Oh, that's so tricky. That's like some Meat Boy style stuff right there. Where am I? Yeah, I'm totally into this. Oh, I got lacerated. No! I'm actually doing pretty well here, though. Mostly because a lot of these, up until now anyways, I've played every level before. Do not expect to do quite as well as you saw in this video. I think I died closer to like 50 times. Wow, I got bounced right through that. My first time through World 1. So, there is quite a difference playing through it your second time as opposed to kind of sight reading the levels. But I'll probably just use this level as a backdrop for kind of finishing up here. Overall, I'm very, very pleased with the game. I'm having a great time. It's going to be a game that I will finish. You know, and probably play through a few more times after finishing, honestly. As far as kind of replayability. I was taking a peek at some of the Steam achievements, which of course are new with this version of the game, and some of them are insane. There's going to be a lot of stuff to go for if you are kind of a completionist. So, you know, I probably won't go for all the achievements, but I might go for some of them. But, you know, I know that is... you know, I know people are a fan of that kind of stuff. I know, like, Meat Boy had the achievements for not dying in each world of the game. So, I know people are gonna go for it. So, if you are curious about kind of, you know, how long the game's going to take you, you know, part of it is going to depend on what you're into. If you are, you know, a fan of leaderboards, then I could see people spending a lot of time getting high scores on the leaderboards, and if you like achievements, there's tons to go for in that. But, you know, as far as my overall thoughts on the game, like I said, I'm very pleased. I think the platforming elements are very good. You know, it's just kind of a unique style of gameplay that, you know, I've been pleasantly surprised by. So, if you are, you know, into this kind of game, if you are into kind of the whole tough platformer thing, I highly recommend checking this out. You will not be disappointed. So, yeah, this definitely gets a very big recommendation from me. So, as always, feel free to comment if there's anything that you would like to comment on. Subscribe to the channel to see more of my videos every single day, and if you liked what you saw in my video of Krunch, please consider clicking the like button, because that could help me out a lot, and I appreciate everything that you do to help. So with all of that being said, I thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time.